Grant Shippey, Chief Executive Officer of Amorphous, a very warm welcome to the Red Zone. Thank you very much for joining us. You say this, marketers should use investment philosophy and theory to help them allocate their monies most effectively. What you're saying is that marketers should become merchant bankers. Not quite.
Possibly.
In what respect? What are you saying?
I think we need to inform our decisions with every available opportunity, every available piece of intelligence. And financial managers, investment marketers have been doing and running theories on how to effectively allocate resources. And I think marketers should do the same, or at least take a leaf from the book and say, how do we effectively allocate resources to an optimal outcome?
Why are they not doing that?
Now, I think they are, and I think people are doing it in a haphazard kind of way. And I think if you looked at media allocations over time, sure, there's new media, digital has been with us for almost 20 years now. We've had an agency for 15 years already in this country. The allocations are just not moving to the so-called second screen, third screen, fourth screen, or mobile screen for that matter. So consumption has changed, marketers haven't.
Is it a question of skills and understanding the changing landscape, or is it simply they are comfortable in what they're doing?
Both. I think it's very easy to iterate an existing campaign, to say, well, last year we did this mix, we did some TV, we did some radio, we did some outdoor, worked fairly well for us, let's just extend it, let's refresh the creative, let's tweak the product a little bit and play with one or two Ps, and off we go, and everyone goes to lunch. Mind you, we don't really have that many lunches anymore, but that's the idea. What we need to do is actually take a critical look from the first base and say, where are our consumers actually interacting with our brands, and how much does it cost to reach those people in each one of those mediums, and how do we effectively balance our exposure?
Does it start with better research?
Yes. So you would definitely need to know how to allocate your actual media spend. You would need to obviously fundamentally understand where your audience is. So there's a hell of a lot of dense research in the TV space, radio, outdoor, et cetera, and there has been for quite some time. We all know a Millward Brown noting score and all of that kind of stuff. Who amongst our marketing directors and our marketing leadership has a deep understanding of even Google, the largest media owner on the planet, right? Who can actually run a Google campaign on behalf of a corporate saying, yes, I'm going to put down my $20 million and I'm going to run that effectively.
So what kind of questions then, Grant, should a chief executive be asking of his or her marketing officer in that respect in order to optimize the spend?
So I think we've got to ask a couple of simple questions. I think if we look to our partners, our other continents, if we look to America, you're looking at roughly 35% of media spend is going towards digital. So whether that be mobile or search or social or tablet and second screen, so-called second screen devices. In Europe, it's running around 25%. Little old South Africa, we're running at about 1%. So you could say, well, hang on, our digital audience is a lot younger, but we've got to look at that as a chasm. It's not a marginal difference. It's not a margin for error. It's like to use investment speak, it's a black swan event. It's like we've ignored the fact that mobile phones, that there are 50 million of them in this country. Like what percentage of anyone's last campaign had more than 1% allocated to mobile?
If you adopt this more strategic and investment approach, is there a better way of measuring ROI?
Yes, definitively, absolutely. And there are tons of media geek and media geek operations that will do an exercise called attribution analysis. To use a football methodology, they call it an assist. So did you assist with the goal? Did you assist with the touchdown, to use Americanese? And how you actually decide whether which one is an awareness medium, which is a conversion medium, and which one actually assisted the exposure to the actual outcome. So for argument's sake, you see a TV ad, then that's followed by a piece of editorial that you see in your favorite newspaper, which is then followed by, you then are now aware, you then do a Google search and an ad pops up that says, get product now for you, and then you actually click on that. Where do you attribute that? So the TV was the awareness maker, the digital was the deliverer, but they all need to be attributed within an appropriate sort of conversion ratio that says between these three, we got a sale. So it's not a case of doing one or the other. It's a case of understanding how you blend these cooperating assets together and actually treat them like cooperating assets, as opposed to, oh no, we're going TV or radio or print. Think about it in the investment sense of going bonds versus cash versus equities. You wouldn't build a portfolio that only chooses one.
How does your agency interface with this then? What do you do?
So we're there, and we'd like to actually work with the problem at a coalface level and say, Mr. Client, let's just take a look, right? Step one, let's just open our eyes a little bit and say, well, hang on, let's do an audience analysis and say, where are the people that currently buy your product? So this can be achieved via a couple of ways. You can obviously do outbound research to say, well, you know, who are our existing customers and what media do they conserve? Now, obviously, there are products like amps that contribute very heavily in this field, but to actually get what we would call a lookalike, so i.e., I'm a product for a particular kind of funeral plan or an owner of a particular kind of funeral plan, where is that segment? You know, where are they on a map? What is their household income? What are their dependencies and things like that? At a hyper-local level is also one of the huge opportunities. So desk-based as well as research, as traditional research can be done to really inform marketers with A, where their audience is and who they are, and then secondly, how to get to them.
Is the research capability available to optimize the model that you're trying to implement?
Yes, very much so. So there are various data providers that can provide deep segmentation analysis over more than 20 million South Africans. So you can actually do real world research and then actually roll that up into your own kind of bespoke solution, as opposed to, I always look at AMPS as a great guide. It's a companion on a walk. It's not going to do the walking for you. It informs you, but the sample size is just, we've got 9 provinces, the sample size is 25,000.
Just a final question. Where is room in all of this for gut feel, for the media magic that people often talk about? Is your model just not being held hostage to great data analytics? Or is that the direction in which this debate is moving?
I think no great idea is ever held hostage if it's truly great. All the data analytics would do is expose it to the right people more. So it's there to complement great ideas and support less great ideas. I think we would all say, and this is obviously where subjectivity comes into the whole thing, I would veer towards the empirical, but certain pieces of creativity spark an emotion, spark a memorability, and cause great sales. And that is fantastic, but they are in the vast minority.
Grant Shippey from Amorphous, thank you very much for the insight. I do appreciate it.
Thank you, Jeremy.